Ladies and gentlemen, please begin to enjoy your salads. Our program will begin in just a moment. Once again, please begin enjoying your salads. Our program will begin in just a moment. not until I know we're ready to go. 'Cause, at this point, I'm a big old liar. Aren't we all? As soon as she gives me the go-ahead, we're good. We have our national anthem, guys.
To go on entrees? Is that your
Like,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Ryan, or Eric, Katie said go when we're ready. You ready? All right. I'm gonna ask him to stand first. Just give a second. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. For our national anthem. Please welcome to the stage Jake Schroeder. That was a good start, guys.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please help me welcome to the stage Civico Executive Director Eric Hoffenbeck.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the event. How about Jake Schroeder, right? Woo! We are so thrilled to be hosting this event once again at History Colorado. And last year was a wonderful celebration, so we figured let's do it again one more time. And Dana Crawford, it is so nice to see you tonight. How are you doing?
All of my best friends, and especially those that drink martinis and wear tennis shoes to events like this.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic event, and next year I'm going to work on improving the lighting.
Well, Dana, we had such a nice time last year, if you remember.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed.
I know.
Look, why'd you give it? Where's my kiss?
Well, I don't even know you.
Look what I got to do. Now, this was a great conversation. This was Phil Weiser telling me how he was going to win Attorney General, and good thing he won, so that's good. But it wasn't as fun as your kiss.
Well, yeah, you don't really know.
Well, can I find out?
You don't know what you're talking about.
May I please have a kiss?
No.
Well, not even on the
No.
cheek?
I've known Papa and he was attorney.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Where's the server? No food over here. And cut her off.
We'll get things going. Dana has known me since I've been small wee boy, so it's great to see you again, Dana. As you may have noticed, the event is not your typical gala. Too often at these events, we have the welcome, please eat your food, let's have some amazing awardees, let's go home. But tonight will be special. Tonight, we're here for celebration, inspiration, and excitement. Think of it like the Oscars, hopefully you got a sense of that right here, with our celebrities, the medal recipients this evening, and 3 governors in the audience, and Dana Crawford, of course. But it's a mashup of the Oscars, say your favorite performance of a concert, the Broncos throwing the game-winning touchdown in overtime, whichever it may be. We're trying to make this fun tonight. And how often at these events are you part of the experience? Are you willing and able to openly celebrate your friends, your family, to recognize one another for significant accomplishment? Well, tonight is that night. We're celebrating 6 incredible individuals tonight and 1 phenomenal company that have gone beyond the call of leadership and service in Colorado. These are the superstars of our state. And we should be thrilled about who they are and that we get to call them as ours in Colorado. And tonight is our moment to celebrate them as the Colorado heroes they are. And as you see their impact, you hear their stories, I encourage you to get loud and excited and celebrate their accomplishments for the state. And I see many of you are eating. I want logistically to let you know, please feel free to eat. We want you to enjoy the food this evening as well. As mentioned, my name is Eric Hoffenbeck, and I am delighted to serve as Executive Director of Civico, as well as your MC this evening, so you'll hear a lot from me. We're excited to co-host a special evening for the very first time with Governor Jared Polis. Thank you for being here. In addition to both Governors John Hickenlooper and Bill Owens, who are both here, if all 3 of you wouldn't mind standing to be recognized for your service to Colorado, so we can thank you. Tonight, as I've mentioned, is all about Colorado, something I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, share our enthusiasm for. And you'll hear it consistently tonight. You know, a common thread woven throughout our recipients this evening is that each of them in their own way is resilient, they're empathetic, they're determined, they're committed. They're all fighters and champions in their own way. You know, I'm sure many of you in this room know Teddy Roosevelt's now infamous quote from 1910. And at risk of it being cliche at this point, I'd like to share it briefly. It is not the critic who counts, not the person who points out how the strong individual stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the person, or organization this evening, who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends themselves in a worthy cause, who knows, at best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. This quote is fitting for this evening, as each of our recipients tonight, all of whom are in the arena. Now, I'd like to mention a little bit about us, the organization co-hosting this evening, Civico, and introduce a special guest to the stage in a moment. Many of you may know us as our former name, Quarterly Forum, our name we carried proudly for 20 years, or the Leaders Initiative, which we also carried. In February, we rebranded as we are working to unlock a civic spirit in the state, and not just in Denver, but across all of Colorado. And at Civico, we do three things. One, we build leadership capacity across the state of Colorado through the first ever statewide leadership program in the country in partnership with McKinsey & Company and BetterUp, called the Civico Leadership Academy. We train the next generation of public service leaders through the Governor's Fellowship Program, and empower the next generation of social enterprise leaders through the Social Enterprise Fellowship at the Barton Institute. Number two, we provide a place, a space, and an atmosphere for continuing learning through Club Civico, a place in the heart of Denver for the soul of Colorado. And finally, we steward these medals of citizenship on behalf of the governor and the process therein. And I'd like to introduce someone to the stage who can share with us the importance of these medals and why we're here tonight. Our co-chairman is really the visionary who's taken this organization to the next level. He grew up in Granby, Colorado. He was a two-time Olympian, graduated from the University of Colorado with honors, and for the last 20 plus years has been an investor, a philanthropist, and an all-around incredible community leader. Someone who's just as fun as the impact that he creates in the community, and his heart is bigger than this entire space. And I apologize about the alarms going off. Hopefully no one's taking any artifacts from the exhibit. But it is my deep pleasure to welcome to the stage our co-chairman, Ryan Heckman.
I like that song. That's a great song. That alarm is really annoying, and I am too sorry. But we're just going to ignore it. In Colorado, when it snows 4 inches in September and it goes from 80 degrees to 20 degrees or whatever, we just roll with it. So we're just going to keep going here. Perfect. Listen, I want to thank you for being here. This has been a dream of ours for some time. As Eric mentioned, we started launching the current version of Civico about 5 years ago. And our dream was really just to increase the ability of leaders all over the state. And we've taken baby steps along the way, and tonight's a culmination of all of that work. The medals and the whole tradition of the medals begins with Governor Hickenlooper. I came to him early in 15, I believe it was, and the big idea here was the federal government has the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it's been given every year since 1963. And it's kind of a cool story because Kennedy, it was his idea. He came up with the medal winners, and they were scheduled to be given in July 4th, actually, of 1963. Of course, Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd. And it's an amazing story because within 2 weeks, you can imagine what was going on in terms of the chaos within the White House and just our country at large. And they still decided to run the ceremony early on December 6th to honor his devotion to this concept of not just elevating the military servicemen in our country, but also honor the civilians for doing their work to raise the tide for all of us. And it was so important to him that Lyndon Johnson decided to accelerate the ceremony, do it on December 6th, and the first medal was actually given to John F. Kennedy, which was kind of a poetic honor and fitting way to honor his vision. And since 1963, no other state in the country has duplicated that idea at the state level. And, there are a lot of reasons for that, but thankfully, Governor Hickenlooper indulged me with one of my innovative ideas. Sometimes they're not great, but this one he said, look, I'll sign the executive order, but you have to get every living governor to also sign up for this, because without their support and sponsorship, it won't have that enduring tradition that is so important to things like this. And I'm blessed because he introduced me to Governor Owens. He was my first meeting. I was so nervous. We met at the Brown Palace, right? And he was very supportive, and then I met with Governor Ritter, and it just went down the line, and what a great opportunity. And universally, they all understood the value of not just honoring those that are deceased, but honoring those heroes among us today. One, to say thanks, which we don't do enough of. This community has a way of, the more you give, the more it wants, you know? And it's very important that we honor the heroes when they're living. And then I think as importantly, make sure that we create role models for our youth so that they don't think that the way Washington and the way that we hear about the world through Twitter and so forth is the way it happens in Colorado. And we're very proud of the leaders in Colorado who make it the best place in the whole world to live. And it's just a great honor for our organization to be able to work with the governors and Governor Polis this year to honor this year's winners. So that's sort of the big idea on the medals. Our ultimate dream was to have a retail location so that we could promote these heroes among us. And so upstairs on the 4th floor is a culmination of that work. And I think we're the first history museum in the country to actually have a place where we don't just share artifacts, but share values that have made us who we are today. And we've animated those values with the heroes that are winning tonight and for the last 5 years during the ceremony, as well as the historical folks that want us to jump on their shoulders and go bigger. So there'll be DPS students going through the exhibit every year, and we're very thankful to History Colorado Center for leading the charge here. So I do owe a thank you to Steve Turner. I don't know where Steve is, but thank you, Steve, for your leadership. I do want to make a couple other thank yous, if that's okay. So up on the mezzanine floor right here, these are the Civico Leadership Academy. Oh, sorry, over here? Yeah. Civico Leadership Academy fellows, and they're above you for a reason. We say they're not the chosen ones. They're the ones that made a choice to become better versions of themselves through our programming. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. My second thank you is to Marlon. Marlon Reese has given his partner, Jared Polis, to public service for a very long time. And as a husband who's never home, and as a father who's never home, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for sharing your husband with us, both for our country and for our state and for our world around us. He makes it a better place, and he couldn't do it without you. So I want to give Marlon a standing ovation, please. Thank you very much. And lastly, and certainly not least, is my man Colin McPhee, right here. Colin comes to us from Leadville, Colorado. Our medals are made from Colorado silver. I called Colin in 2015. He didn't return my call for 3 months. I called him back. I said, why didn't you call me? He said, I thought it was a prank to make these medals. And Colin is the shop teacher at Leadville High School, and he makes our medals from hand every year. His beautiful wife, Kate, just told me a moments ago, she said, I got to tell you, I'm really honored that my husband makes these medals from hand, and he takes it very seriously. But I look forward to the end of tonight every year. But we are honored, Colin, by your great craftsmanship, and it makes the medals authentic. It makes it us, and I just want to say thank you. So my last thank you is actually more of an introduction. Governor Hickenlooper and Governor Owens have been, I just told Governor Hickenlooper he was my muse, and I'm not sure he took that quite right, but they've been my role models. We have been so blessed over the years here in Colorado with great leadership at the governor and mayor level, and I get emotional talking about these two men because they've been so instrumental in guiding me to a higher purpose and a higher calling on behalf of all of us. And my family's all in, and they've been the ones inspiring my family to step up. So With that, I'd like to introduce Governor John Hickenlooper and Governor Bill Owens to the stage, please.
I was just thinking as Ryan was introducing us, John, how often you and I have come up to events like this almost unscripted, and the John and Bill show has taken it usually without any damaging consequences. It is great to be here with my friend Governor Hickenlooper, and the two of us are going off script for just a moment. And we decided to do this on our own without consultation with any of the higher ups. But we each wanted to say a few words about Ryan Heckman before we introduced Governor Polis. And as I was thinking about Ryan Heckman tonight, I was reminded of the words of two British statesmen, both of whom are political heroes of mine. The first is Edmund Burke. Burke was a member of the British Parliament in the 1770s and 1780s. He was one of the few members of Parliament to stand up for American rights. He stood up and said that the American colonists have the same rights as British citizens. He did it so often that he was criticized by the king and by many parliamentarians. And friends of his came to him and said, you know, Mr. Burke, you shouldn't do that. They can't vote for you in the United States or in the colonies. And also it's damaging and considered treasonous here in Britain. And he said something then that I think is just as important, if not more so today, to recall than it was when he said it. He said, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. And I would just say that doing nothing has never been said about Ryan Heckman, because Ryan Heckman has always been a person of action. Born and raised on the West Slope, as Eric said, learned to ski at a young age, born in Granby, skied all over Colorado, met his beautiful wife Katie down at the famous ski slopes at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. A late starter, he applied after 2 times in the Olympics, applied to the University of Colorado, was accepted on probation to the University of Colorado at age 21, graduated with honors, and then began a career as a serial entrepreneur, a business person who has employed thousands and just made Colorado and our country better in so many ways. And then he shifted while remaining in business, but he shifted to civic responsibilities with building with Governor Hickenlooper what today we call Civico, with so many other items of community interest that have made our state better. And this reminds me then of the words of my second favorite British statesman, and that is Sir Winston Churchill. Churchill said, I never worry about action, just inaction. Well, inaction has never described Ryan Heckman, and for that our state and our country are truly indebted. Governor Hickenlooper?
Thank you, Governor. And many of you don't remember this, but we used to go out on Civic Center between the state capitol when Bill was the governor and I was the mayor of Denver, between the state capitol and City Hall. And we always made it a point to signify the beginning of spring by going out with a couple baseball gloves and throwing the ball back and forth to show, and it was a very intentional effort to show that a Republican governor and a Democratic mayor could not only get along and work together for the benefit of both the city and the state, but that we could do it in a way that was fun. And we did TV ads for the 9 News Fair, and the outtakes from that are worth Googling at some point. Anyway, I also want to go on a little bit about Ryan. And tonight is just such a great example of what Ryan Heckman has done, but also who he is. And I learned a long time ago when I was building my first business that the real success is being able to take other people to do what you need them to do and think it was their idea. And pretty much everything that's happening tonight was at one point or another imagined and envisioned by Ryan Heckman. And he would get people like me and Governor Owens, and he would feed us just enough so we'd say, well, what about this? Or what about that? And we'd stake some claim to psychological ownership. And yet he had, from the beginning, had a pretty masterful vision. And, you know, I remember the first time, he won't remember this, but the first time I met him, the first thing he said, and he didn't use the exact words, but in essence he said, "What's your story?" And that is his favorite thing in life, is to go out and to find someone, and just the way he gave the toast to Marlin, I'm sure that he is bored into Marlin at some point and understands his story, because it's what he gets energy from, is that connectivity between all of our stories. And really that's what this institution is about, and certainly the exhibit upstairs, which I am honored to have. Now, I worked real hard to have my name first. Doesn't always work out the way you want it, but Owens Hickenlooper does have a ring to it, I have to say. But I think Ryan Heckman is one of the people that recognized the importance of making sure not that what gets done today isn't important, but what perhaps matters more is how it's communicated, how young people look at it. The deal, the arrangement with the Denver Public Schools, that we're going to have tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of middle schoolers coming through that exhibit and really seeing and feeling values and how Colorado got where it was, not just by this person or that person by it, but the values that they shared, how important that is. And I think that, you know, I look at all the awardees and I want to thank them all. I know so many of the awardees have played roles that are beyond the descriptive capacity of words, both in Colorado and in my life. And none of this would have happened without Ryan Heckman. So I want to bring up our governor, Jared Polis, to kind of finish off this recognition of what a remarkable creator what a remarkable and selfless creator Ryan Heckman is. Governor Polis. I will point out that I think we're going to have the greatest governor of any of us is going to be Governor Jared Polis.
Thank you for that kind introduction, John, and the high expectations. Thank you, Civico. Again, I think that was a wonderful tribute to the vision, the tenacity of Ryan Heckman. I also, of course, want to thank Eric Hoffenbeck, who you met earlier, and also Eric Matisek, who hasn't been up here as much, but let's give him a round of applause. Go ahead and stand up. Thank you for your work as well. Katie Alger, thank you for your work on the event. JP Morgan, Chase, the gold sponsor, all the other sponsors. It was really wonderful to be able to come in to the governorship with an institution like this existing, right? And having the ability to recognize and elevate the inspiring, amazing work of Coloradans. Civico's work, by the way, across the board is transformational, preparing the fellows. We've looked to fill different slots in our administration with people that have been through the program. It's going to be a great asset for any governor in the future to be able to attract the talent from the private sector that's been through this kind of training and preparation. Of course, the work in making sure that we have this opportunity before us today to highlight some really remarkable Coloradans. And I suspect that most of you might know one or two of them, but I think you'll learn a lot about some other remarkable folks that you didn't know about coming in here today, and the impact they've had both in Colorado, nationally, as well as globally. The Governor's Citizenship Medal, our state's version of the Presidential Medal of Honor, was brought to life really to elevate that amazing work being done in Colorado. And I'm honored to carry on this tradition as governor, and of course, someday I'll be taking my place alongside Bill Owens and John Hickenlooper as former governor at these events as well. And what a great place to hold the celebration at History Colorado. Let's give History Colorado a round of applause. I got to visit the exhibit earlier. In fact, one of our honorees, I didn't know this coming in, one of our honorees today is already part of that exhibit. Tim Gill is part of that exhibit upstairs, in addition to being honored here today. You know, part of being an effective leader, as all the leaders we're celebrating today, is really the self-reflection, self-improvement, and about taking on new challenges. And as we become better leaders, as we inspire the middle school students learning about this to become better leaders, as the stories before you today inspire all of you to become better leaders, it's important to recognize that, you know, now is a time that we need leadership. There's no shortage of problems that need solving, of divides that need healing. Of course, there's the old ones, war, poverty, injustice. They still persist despite progress in many areas. And now we face additional challenges of a new age. We're in need now more than ever before of extraordinary acts of service and leadership. I want to talk briefly about the award recipients tonight. You're going to learn a lot about them today, some amazing work that they've done. So I'll just add my own perspective to some of what will be said formally about their amazing work. For growth and innovation, David Brown and David Cohen, who I've known for many years, founded Techstars. Now, this sort of, just a week or two ago, I was visiting an accelerator in a different part of the state, and somebody said just sort of casually, yes, we're implementing the Techstars model. The fact that it's become a model, not just in Colorado, but globally, where people across the country and the world are saying we're implementing a similar model to accelerate startups and prepare them for capital formation and surround them with mentorship networks, is really amazing, considering how far it came when they first approached me about the idea many years ago, and it's just grown to become something that also, and this is why it's important in Colorado, really celebrates Colorado as a center of the startup world and innovation. Something that's very core to our frontier spirit, risk-taking, being able to start a new company, a new operation, to turn an idea into reality. And whether that's in the private sector or the public sector, nonprofit sector, we are a state of risk takers, a state of social entrepreneurs and private sector entrepreneurs. And nothing really manifests that better than what truly helped put the Denver Boulder area on the map for national capital as a national startup center, as the work of David Brown and David Cohen. The Aspen Ski Company is our corporate citizen we're highlighting today. We have a lot of great corporate citizens in Colorado. We're blessed. I'm wearing Colorado shoes by one, VF Corporation, which is part of Ultra, which is part of VF Corporation. But Aspen Skiing Company leads the way on climate, on treating their employees well, and of course providing a great customer experience in Colorado. When you have a brand like Aspen, you realize, of course, you have a business and you want to make money, but it's also about what that brand means in Colorado, nationally, and of course, in the case of Aspen, internationally. And Aspen Skiing Company has been amazing custodians of being a forward-looking company, and you'll learn about some of their work here today. For public and community service, we'll be honoring Barbara O'Brien. If you live in Denver, she's been your school board president. But that's only a recent thing. I got to know her 20 years ago when she was the executive director of the Colorado Children's Campaign, an organization lauded for bipartisan work, really taking on the holy cows on both sides of the aisle in advancement of the interests of children above everybody else. And that is something that really inspired me to get into service. I worked with Barb in the Children's Campaign. She also served our state as lieutenant governor under Governor Bill Ritter. And as our administration focuses on early childhood education, the progress we've made with full-day kindergarten, the work we're doing to expand preschool, we look to a lot of that groundbreaking inspiration that Barbara has not only said, but also lived throughout her life in the nonprofit and public sector. Of course, the Vanguard Legacy Citizenship Medal we will be giving to my friend Tim Gill, who's here with his husband Scott Miller. I mentioned they're already part of an exhibit upstairs before we even got to this award. But you know, there's so much that we're going to learn about Tim's work. And for those of you who don't know it, many years ago, he was frustrated with some of the anti-LGBT rhetoric and policies that were coming from elected officials on both sides of the aisle. And instead of just fuming about it, instead of just speaking out in his own community about it, he said, we're going to do something about this nationally. And that work has been transformational in terms of the political climate nationally for really celebrating the diversity of all Americans, including LGBT Americans. It's fair to say, not only would I not be governor of our great state without the work of Tim Gill and laying that social and political groundwork, and that's not an important thing. What is important is that there are countless men and women that wouldn't even be alive today, that might have ended their own lives without the groundbreaking work in support of LGBT youth that Tim has made his life's work. And it might still be hard for a young gay boy in Julesburg or a young lesbian in Ignacio, but it's a lot easier than it was when Tim began that work. And with the supporting network and the laws that we have, including a fully inclusive protection based on sexual orientation and gender identity in the workplace, we've really come a long way in Colorado, transforming from a moniker that we once rued, the hate state, to being a state that celebrates Coloradans, regardless of who they are and who they love. And Tim Gill deserves a lot of credit for that transformation. I was told by Ryan that only once in the history of this award has it been given posthumously. This will be the second time that we will be making a posthumous award, because there's a member of our community that rises to the occasion of making sure that we celebrate the life of somebody who was more than just the owner of the Broncos, more than just a member of the community, but somebody who really became the leading breathing heart of what a sports team owner should be, somebody who always put the community first and the fans first and the players first, who was an inspiration to generations of Coloradans. We're so honored that while, of course, Pat isn't here to see this recipient of this honor, his family will be accepting it on his behalf. You will learn a lot more about his contributions too. So I'm sure, and by the way, we have one more. We have a young, I just met her, we have a young future leader. And what a great thing that Civico is also celebrating future leaders. You're gonna learn, I guarantee you don't know a lot about what Kylie's done in her life. She's 17. But Kylie's here from the San Luis Valley as well. You're gonna hear a lot about her, a promise of future leadership in our state. She'll be attending UCCS next fall. So look, these are all people, you've probably heard of many of these names, except you're hearing about Kylie for the first time, but you've heard these other names. You might have even known them in some small semblance of their overall professional or personal work. But each one of these individuals has had such a broad spectrum of contributions to our state and to our nation. I'm deeply honored as governor to be able to convey the appreciations of a grateful state to our heroes and our leaders that we're honoring tonight. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Governor Polis. And if you need, we'll get you some water because you'll be up here for a while. Before we jump into the formal medal ceremony, I do want to make a few more thank yous because tonight would not be possible without some of our incredible sponsors. Thank you, JP Morgan Chase, our gold sponsor, for really making this celebration happen tonight. Thank you as well to the Aspen Skiing Company and Anchor Point Foundation, the Denver Broncos Football Club, all of whom contributed, including our premier table sponsors, to making this a special night. And of course, JetLinks and Hush Blackwell for the pre and post parties, which I hope you stick around for later. Civico itself wouldn't be possible without three key community partners as well. Our community partner, the Betcher Foundation, our thought partner, McKinsey & Company, and our academic partner, the University of Denver. Our work is amplified through their partnership, and I want to say thank you to their work as well. And as all of you know, these events, no matter the scale, do not happen without the tireless work of an incredible team that I feel really blessed to work alongside. Led by Katie Alger, who you've heard a little bit from Governor Polis tonight, I want to recognize Katie and Caitlin Fritcher, Jennifer Connolly, and Logan Hibble, because this night would not have happened if it were just me working on it, let me tell you that much. Would you please join me in giving them a round of applause for everything they do? Thank you. And hopefully you can celebrate with them this evening as well. Now, it's time to begin the formal medal ceremony. We're honored to steward these with Governor Polis, and each of these awardees have incredible supporters, friends, and family here in the audience and throughout their lives who have helped them get to where they've gotten. Now tonight, with each medal recipient, we'll invite a special co-presenter to the stage to award the medal with Governor Polis to either welcome back an old friend or add a new supporter to their repertoire, so to speak. So for each medal recipient, we'll welcome someone before we introduce our medal recipients. Ready to start? Let's do it. The Growth and Innovation Medal is our first medal of the evening, which is given to an entrepreneur, business, or community leader who's led with exceptional ingenuity and growth while inspiring and creating new possibilities for others. Now to co-present the medal with Governor Polis on stage is Brad Feld, who joins us now. Brad is one of Colorado's most significant entrepreneurs and investors and community leaders. Brad, along with his wife Amy, are renowned for their support of entrepreneurs across the country and community causes. He is also the 2017 recipient of this medal, the Growth and Innovation Medal. Now on to tonight's recipients. They're quite the duo. A couple of serial entrepreneurs starting multiple companies and investing in hundreds of others. These recipients dual-handedly have enabled and supported entrepreneurs around the world. Co-founding Techstars with the two gentlemen who are here to my left. One of our recipients ran this organization solo until he recognized the need to bring the other along. He said in a Bench.co article about his co-recipient, "I'm great at saying we should go take this hill, but he's the one who's great at getting everyone to run at it full speed." Sure enough, the organization they created, as Governor Polis mentioned, would become the gold standard and model for accelerators around the world. It's only fitting tonight begins with champions, two champions, for collaboration, for co-recipients, for Colorado. How about that? How about we learn a little bit more about our first recipients?
Being a good citizen is what we're really all about. Techstars builds communities to help entrepreneurs, and it's really living by this mantra of give first.
The idea behind Techstars was to improve the community that we lived in, to create more entrepreneurial activity here in Colorado, but also to really invent a better way to do early stage investing.
Give First came from a section in my book, Startup Communities, that talked about the importance of having a philosophy of give before you get.
It's about how people feel and about how Techstars makes them feel, about being part of something that's bigger than them.
I think it's about creating opportunities for others while doing it in a productive way and being a good actor in the community. I mean, fundamentally, a community is just about the people that live here, and creating opportunities for others is the core of what we do.
Techstars was a modest attempt in the early days to figure out how to pay it forward and help other entrepreneurs succeed.
Defining those values early on and really talking about them has helped others grab onto them and live them.
Colorado's home. We're passionate about being successful in Colorado because we moved here for the incredible lifestyle. Helping Colorado be successful is how we got started, and it turned out the model that works in Boulder and works in Colorado applies elsewhere as well. And so we've expanded to sort of replicate the Colorado model all around the world.
There were about 10 companies in the portfolio. We now have close to 2,000, growing at over 500 a year.
It's powerful that so many of the values around entrepreneurship that were embedded in Techstars from the beginning are very, very durable against the backdrop of this global activity.
We're very global, the company's all over the world, but HQ will always be right here. One thing that might surprise people is that Colorado is a model that people all over the world talk about, and it's this open door mentality, this give first mentality that is the secret weapon of the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Colorado, and others are looking to clone that. So when they think about all the cool things that have started and they hear that they're from Colorado, that reflects well on our state.
There's a little bit of Boulder that's now been spread throughout the world in terms of the notion of the global startup community.
To be recognized for having impact here in our home location was really meaningful. Getting something that recognizes us for a contribution to Colorado felt extra special.
It's an honor to get that award, and it's sort of apropos because innovation is sort of what we want to help others do. We just want to continue the model that we started in Boulder and in Colorado and continue to expand it to other places around the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2019 recipients for Growth and Innovation, David Brown and David Cohen.
What an incredible honor. You got a little taste of it in the video. Governor Civico, thank you so much. We're incredibly honored for this. Spreading what we're doing, the spirit of Colorado around the world in entrepreneurship is a privilege and an honor. You heard a little bit about Give First. There are now tens of thousands of mentors around the world that help entrepreneurs succeed, that Techstars helps to organize. And that comes from a few people here that were our mentors early on, some of whom are here with me now, some are in the audience that have given first to startups here in Colorado. We've simply taken that and armed others with that spirit, and to see that happening, that seed of giving first that we got and we took advantage of, to be able to spread that is just incredible to see what it's become. So thank you for this amazing honor.
I just want to express my thanks as well to the governor and my congratulations to all of the other honorees and to the incredible folks that are in the audience tonight and previous recipients and everybody who's working so hard to make Colorado a great state. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Governor Polis mentioned that this perhaps is our least well-known recipient. Last year, the Emerging Community Leader Medal shifted from a under 40 leader to a rising community leader, high school senior, recent graduate, who has made a positive impact on their community at a very young age and can serve as an example for our future generations. Now, joining Governor Polis to co-present this medal is Kenzo Kawanabe, Chair of the Boettcher Foundation Board of Trustees, our community partner. Kenzo is a fourth-generation Coloradan from the San Luis Valley as well, and an alumnus of the Foundation's Boettcher Scholarship Program. Now, tonight's recipient comes to us from a small town in Conejos County, Colorado, Antonito. This remarkable young woman does it all. She is passionate for her community and her school, a varsity captain for volleyball and basketball, tutoring younger students, leading food drives for the homeless. More importantly, she created an advocacy group, the Antonito Kids Against Substance Abuse, where a group of students from Antonito go to different schools across the San Luis Valley to show support and demonstrate coping skills for one another, for students who come from drug and alcohol abuse homes, that they're similar to the homes that they live in. She is truly a fighter and champion for substance abuse prevention. As her nominator put it so well, she said, quote, "Sometimes I think of working with her, Kylie, as a movie clip. She is the young protagonist that everyone is rooting for to succeed because she is so relatable, helps others feel so good about themselves. I think she's a role model for all of us. And for many others, she will continue to be an inspiration for many, many years to come in Colorado." Let's take a look at who she is.
Being a citizen is more than just living there. I think it's being proud of where you live. I want to see changes happening, and I want everybody to be a part of it.
I first met Kylie when she was actually in 8th grade, and even as an 8th grade student, she was already kind of making an impact around school.
Kylie's a very driven individual. I think that she brings a lot of hope to not only the people of Antonito, but the people of the Valley.
And I asked her to be one of my peer tutors, and she's just pretty amazing.
She's just got a really infectious personality.
I knew right off the bat that she was a natural born leader.
She tries to connect with all the kids.
Advocating for others.
She's been deeply involved in several different projects in the community.
We've worked together on a lot of school improvement projects.
Doing canned food drives, we volunteered at a local homeless shelter. Kylie, you deserve this 100%. I have seen how hard you've worked.
It's kind of crazy for a small town girl like me. Governor Polis doesn't just call anybody, you know. I remember him just saying that he was proud of the work that I had been doing in my community, and I think that was one of the biggest things.
Kylie and I worked together on this program that we created here in Antonito called the Prevention Collaborative Crew.
Substance abuse for me is what I'm so passionate about because I saw it firsthand. Both of my parents, my mom and my dad, they're actually addicts. I see it firsthand in the community. You have so many kids that go to this school. They're in the same boat that I am, living with grandparents, having their parents being addicts. And I think that is why my focus is so towards substance abuse.
Kylie really stepped up because there was only 4 student advocates, but she was kind of like our leader amongst the students, and she was just the real voice.
This weekend for public health, we did a traffic safety bash. It was to survey kids and ask them what they know about GDL laws, what they think distracted driving is, and then making it fun as well.
She has a background that really kind of drives her to put her best foot forward and excel.
It's not something that should hold anybody back. It's something that should make you continue to fight.
Students see her as somebody who's like a voice for them.
She's going to get you on her team, and her team is always trying to either get better in the classroom, get better on the field, or do something for her community.
She's going to grow up into somebody that people in the community can look up to, people in our school can look up to.
Even though it's just me winning this award, you see how other people get so proud. My whole family, my grandma, my siblings, I think they deserve some recognition. I would also like to thank my mom and my dad. I think despite what we've been through, I think we've come through stronger, and I think that without them, I don't think I would have ever gotten the mentality of push through. Honestly, I couldn't have done it without them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the emerging community leader, Kylie Cisneros Gomez.
Wow, this event is the entire population of my hometown. So I guess first and foremost, I would like to thank my grandma for raising my siblings and I when it wasn't her job to do so. I would also like to thank my counselor, Alex Moore, for believing in me and pushing me to my fullest potential. I would also like to thank my English teacher and my mentor, Madison Mansheim, for caring about me and seeing my potential when I was blind to it. I would also like to thank Larry for sponsoring my evening attire. Thanks, Larry. All I have in my hometown is Family Dollar, so I couldn't have wore this without you. Lori Fisher for all of her support during the day, and also Katie Alger for working so tirelessly with me to attend today. My biggest inspiration is my family, and especially my siblings. I want to create a better community for them to grow up with. My hardships continue to fuel my work in substance abuse, as well as the hardships my community is facing right now. What I want to ask of everyone here today is to have the courage to share your own story so that no child ever feels alone, and to transform personal strife into community change. Because without your hardships and your talking to people, they wouldn't understand, and no kid wants to feel alone. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your story, Kylie. Moving on to our next medal recipient, the Corporate Citizenship Medal recognizes a Colorado-based company that has made a significant positive impact in the community. Now to present this medal with Governor Polis is Christine Bonero, President and CEO of Mile High United Way. Please join us. Now, Christine leads the first and oldest United Way in the country, founded in 1887 in Denver, and who so graciously worked with us on the nominations for this medal. She also was the 2017 recipient of the Public and Community Service Medal and is one of the most passionate and impactful Colorado community leaders we have. Tonight's recipient is an organization that represents much of what those outside of our state think Colorado to be, just epic skiing. Much more importantly, though, tonight, it is a statewide and national champion, fighting with its words, its actions, and its commitments. As stated in their own words, live passionately, awake the spirit, elevate community, and honor place. It is these words and actions that led to their recognition tonight. With guiding principles of humanity, excellence, sustainability, and passion, this organization goes above and beyond to embody these values each and every day. Their most recent campaign seeks to fight for meaningful change for our climate and encourage us all to give a flake. Let's check out this clearly exceptional organization.
To me, corporate citizenship is about really giving back, really doing business in a sustainable way. I believe if you're trying to be in business over the long haul, it's about making sure you're cognizant of where you're doing business and what your impacts are.
Many years ago, we said, this shouldn't be a business that just makes money selling lift tickets. It should be an agent for change.
We have a bit of a saying here that everything is everything. It's all interconnected. In some ways, so goes the company, goes the community, and so goes the community, goes the company.
The company values substance rather than form, and it's about doing the right thing and living the right way and being the right people.
92% of our employees said they were proud to work here, and that was really, that was awesome. I would say it's been our willingness to embrace our shared values, our shared passions.
If you bring the right people together and you set them on the right course, all rowing in the same direction, with a commitment to that long view, you can really achieve a lot, and you can do it in a balanced way.
Engagement amongst our employees within the community is strongly encouraged and rewarded.
Our vision has been, how do you do something different than what corporate America has done on the environment?
We not only work on greening our own buildings and our own operations, but we look at what can we do to help green the entire grid. And we went to Somerset, Colorado, and we worked with the mine there, Oxbow Mining, and we put in a coal methane capture facility.
We've been involved in every piece of climate policy and energy policy in Colorado since Amendment 37 in 2004.
All the way through the company, it's what we really believe.
We've been advocating everywhere we can at the regional level, at the state level, at the national level to say, look, We can solve this climate problem. We just need to get together and get to solutions.
I hope the legacy is that other companies see that you can take the long view. You can do right by your community, you can do right by your employees, you can do right by the planet and be successful.
That philosophy is pretty unique in business, let alone the ski industry.
It is authentically who the company is, and we're really proud of it.
Do business in a way that's good for the community, good for the planet, good for my employees, good for my customers, and good for society.
Please welcome to the stage Mike Kaplan, CEO of Aspen Skiing Company, to receive the award for corporate citizenship.
Wow. Don't you hate looking at yourself on video? It's really hard to do. And then, of course, we don't really wear suits or black tie much in Aspen. And check out my pocket, and I look, and sure enough, it says 2015. Last time I had this thing on. I think it's a little out of date, but humor me, please. Just want to really thank all of you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Civico. Thanks to the governors. I'm still sort of in shock that you guys really reached out and took the time to recognize our efforts. You know how it is when you're plugging away and doing the work. Sometimes you don't realize the impact you're having, and so it's really nice to be appreciated here. I get to stand here, I like to say, and take all the credit for the stuff that we do, but I do absolutely nothing. By the way, when it snows, yeah, I did something, I get the credit, but when it doesn't snow, I didn't do it. But really, this comes from our employees. We have 4,000 employees, and if they didn't live, eat, and breathe these values that were mentioned, humanity, sustainability, excellence, passion, they'd all just be words, right? But they're all in, and really they embrace what I'd say these Colorado values. And obviously this doesn't happen without an incredibly courageous and supportive ownership group, some of whom are here tonight. PC Crown and Jonathan Tapper are here. Really pleased that you guys came and came to support us. So thanks to you. Thanks to, again, Colorado for making this happen. And I was told to give sort of one nugget, one thing to think about as you're thinking about citizenship. And this question that I love that I was asked during those interviews, and you see it up in the exhibit, which is, how do you go from success to significance? How do you make a lasting difference in the world? And I think it's a great question. First of all, you just ask yourself that question on a regular basis. You're going to get there. But the other way we like to think about it is give more than you take. It's a little statement that was created by an artist, Jim Hodges, who did our lift ticket a few years ago. And he looked at the company, he said, this is a place where you give more than you take. And if you think about the power of that statement individually, about doing that with your family and doing it at home, doing it in your company, and having all of us doing that, giving more than we take, we're going to leave Colorado an even better place. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. You know, public service, as you've heard this evening, is something deeply important to Civico, and our next medal is the Medal for Public and Community Service, given to a government or community leader who serves the public with innovation, operational excellence, and a progressive vision. To present the Public and Community Service Award with Governor Polis is Paul Teske, Dean of the School of Public Affairs of the University of Colorado, Denver, and a Civico board member. Dean Teske is a true public policy expert that we're lucky to have in Colorado, and a key member of creating the Governor's Fellowship Program at Civico. Thank you. The 2019 recipient is a shining example of this public service in Colorado. After Beginning her career as a speechwriter with Governor Dick Lamb, we've now hit 4 out of 6 living governors of Colorado. She led the Colorado Children's Campaign for 26 years. She sometimes calls herself the accidental lieutenant governor, as she never wanted to run for office, but she was asked to serve as the running mate and eventual 47th lieutenant governor of Colorado with Governor Bill Ritter. I think we've checked them all at this point now. No, Governor Romer, I apologize. With a deep passion for education, tonight's recipient has spent her career dedicated to bettering the lives of children. Through the Colorado Children's Campaign, Get Smart Schools, and now through her service on the Denver Public Schools Board. For both her public service and nonprofit service, our recipient is most deserving of this year's recognition from the governor. Let's meet our recipient.
Education has always been my passion, and every year on that path I thought, oh, this is what I want to teach. But when I graduated from graduate school, I thought, I really don't want to be in a library for the next 30 years, so what else can I do? And it turns out that being an English major is fabulous training for politics.
I met Barbara when she was working in the Lamb administration.
I was first not introduced to her personally, but when she was the CEO of the Colorado Children's Campaign.
If you're in a classroom, you can make a difference for 20, 25 kids a year. When you set really good state policy, you're affecting Colorado's 1 million children and youth.
She was able to actually make advocacy something that people would invest in.
Barbara was, an all-around advocate in that she felt that she would never push something forward for parents and children without having them included in some of the decision making.
To me, success is very much laden with what do other people judge your work to be, and I'd much rather feel an internal sense of significance. So when I have helped kids I'll never see get health care or get preschool, that's meaningful to me.
I think Barbara's legacy is that when people talk about children, there's hardly ever a time that her voice doesn't come up. If somebody said, well, who do you think I should talk to? And who might know something about that? And if it's somebody wanting to know something on the national level, she knows that as well.
Her legacy, in one respect, is creating the ecosystem, the environment, where political leaders, civic leaders, educational leaders, business leaders have made caring deeply about our children a high priority.
I never blinked from a fight worth fighting, and that I wasn't afraid to lose if I thought it would build a foundation for coming back again.
Barbara, I tell you, this is a great award when I think what it stands for and the fact that you're getting it. But I'm not at all surprised that they're giving it to you.
This city, this state will forever be better because of the impact that you have had.
You never know what window is going to open in your own life, and you have to have enough confidence and enough friends to be able to walk through or jump through open windows, because life is short.
Now, unfortunately, Barbara is unable to join us this evening, which we'll learn in a moment why not. But joining us on the stage to accept the award on her behalf are Anna Jo Haynes and Ann Byroe, who will receive the medal on her behalf from Governor Polis.
So here we are. Anna Jo and myself.
It's extraordinary to be here, and some of you may know, but not all of you, the reason Barbara O'Brien is not here this evening, and this won't surprise you for folks who know her, she is actually the chair of the board of the USA rugby team, right? And so she is now in Japan, where the World Cup rugby is being held, and in the middle of a typhoon. That's what Barbara does, right? But she did send it, she sent us a picture of her talking to the team in the locker room, and she confirmed that these young men are very fit. I will leave it at that. But that's who Barbara O'Brien is. And I have the honor of standing next to one of my heroes, honoring another of my heroes who have led us forward in Colorado, leading the country and being a state that has put children first. And so it is a deep honor of ours to be here on behalf of Barbara. And it's a deep honor to celebrate her extraordinary work, which hasn't stopped and will continue.
Thank you. That's good enough.
Perfect. Thank you. We actually have a special message from Barbara, who sends her regrets for not being here. If we could play the message.
I want to thank Governor Polis for this incredible honor. I nearly dropped the phone when he called me to tell me, and I'm so appreciative. I'm sorry I can't be here tonight. I am representing the United States at the Rugby World Cup in Japan because the rugby headquarters are here in Colorado, as Governor Polis probably knows. And I will be meeting with other national dignitaries as our national team plays for the World Cup for the whole globe. So I'm very sorry I can't be here with you. I also would like to thank the two people who have been with me, who have guided me over 30 years of this community service and advocacy work. Anna Jo Haynes, who is the godmother of early education in Colorado, and Dr. Steve Berman at Children's Hospital, who has fought for affordable health care for kids his entire career. And they took me under their wings when I was new at this work, and we've stayed friends and soldiers in combat this whole time. The last thing I would say to this wonderful audience is that everyone has something to contribute. And start in your local community, get involved, and then see how you can have a wider and wider impact as you get closer and closer to changing state policy. This is a wonderful state, but we have to work hard to keep it wonderful. It won't just be handed to future generations on a platter. We have to work now to make sure they have the opportunities we have all had. Thank you.
Since Barbara's not here, I get to share a story or two about her. I have two. The first one's humorous, the second one's serious. So shortly after I was elected to Congress, I think it was about a year or two in, and Barbara was lieutenant governor of the state, I got this text from her when I was in D.C. We were having late night votes, and she said, "Please pick up some oranges and bring them home this evening." And I couldn't figure out what it was. I called her right away, and I said, "What do you mean, Lieutenant Governor? I'm a couple thousand miles away. I would do it, but I can't get there in time." And she told me that it's because her son's name is Jared, and we were both in her cell phone as Jared. So that's one great story for Barbara. The second one shows her efficacy. As Governor Owens remembers, Barbara and Governor Owens worked on an opportunity contract bill when Governor Owens was here. I was on the State Board of Education, providing opportunities for low-income kids in failing schools to escape that cycle of poverty, go to better schools, and it was a great bipartisan effort, and Ken Salazar lent his support, and I had an op-ed that I knew would make some waves that said that I also supported Ken Salazar's work in providing opportunities for kids. Little did I know how big the waves would be, that 20 years later, when I run for governor, that's still the subject of massive amounts of negative attack mail against me. So thank you, Bill, and thank you, Barbara, for that. I did survive it, but it shows that if people are talking about what you tried to do, and by the way, it did become law, but it was later overruled by the courts, so it never went into effect. But if people are still talking about it 20 years later, you know that you were effective.
Thank you for sharing those stories, Governor Polis. Our second to last medal is certainly not one to be scoffed at. The Vanguard Legacy Award is given to a community leader who has made transformational contributions to their community throughout his or her or their life. The medal is synonymous for lifetime achievement in Colorado. Now, to present the Vanguard Legacy Award with Governor Polis, we'd like to welcome our friend Dana Crawford to the stage. Sorry, Ryan, I got another. Dana was the 2018 recipient of the Vanguard Legacy Award for preserving some of the most notable buildings and areas in our city and state, from Larimer Square to Trinidad and Idaho Springs. Now on to tonight's incredible recipient. He is praised as a visionary, strategist, advocate, and one of the most prolific LGBTQ rights leaders in the country. And he can still be found in the winter hitting the slopes on a snowboard. A descendant in Aspen. A descendant of farmers and ranchers, a product of Wheat Ridge High School and CU Boulder, this recipient went on to revolutionize the publishing industry through innovative and affordable page layout software. However, his business successes and following those, he was following a passion and a desire for advocacy. And this recipient dedicated his life and resources to the cause of equal rights for the LGBTQ community. Through the Gill Foundation and the Gay and Lesbian Fund for Colorado, he has supported numerous nonprofit organizations and projects across the state and the nation. He's quietly and loudly helped to lead a movement that, as Governor Polis mentioned, transformed our state from the hate state to a place where we can elect the first openly gay governor in the nation. I've mentioned these words, fighter and champion, and this person would most certainly be described as someone who fights and is a champion for civil rights. Let's learn more about our next recipient.
So I think what moves people along on LGBT issues is just talking about it and thinking about it. And in the end, I think people are fair and rational, but it takes them time to work through kind of the prejudices they've been given since they were kids. And so it took years, but eventually we got to a point where we weren't politically poisonous anymore, and that was amazing. You know, there have been so many kind of fun things we've done over 25 years. And when we originally started this, we have a project called the Gay and Lesbian Fund for Colorado. And what it did was it donated money to worthy causes around the state and in the name of the Gay and Lesbian Fund for Colorado. And so it was in some ways very much like a corporate branding project. And it was interesting to see how, while someone wouldn't consider something from the NAACP or the ADL to be political in nature, they considered contributions from LGBT people to be political in nature. Denver used to feel very much like a cow town to, I think, a lot of folks. And I don't think you can make that claim anymore. I love the fact that we have all these options that we didn't have before. But that said, you know, you can still go to the opera and then, you know, go hike in the mountains. My family is here, my friends are here, my husband is here. And my passion for snowboarding is certainly fulfilled here. So I love Colorado. I don't think I'd want to live anywhere else. You learn the most from your failures. And so It's okay to fail. What's not okay is to not analyze your failures and think about your failures and figure out a way to do better next time. So I had no idea there was such an award. And so that was the first shock. And then the second shock was that there's so many incredible people that have done so many incredible things. So I'm just honored to have been chosen to receive the award this year. It's just been a tremendous journey over the last 25 years. I don't think I could have wanted anything more fun in a way. In the end, if gays and lesbians don't stand up for themselves, why should anyone else?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tim Gill, the 2019 recipient of the Vanguard Legacy Award.
So I kind of see what you mean about the lighting, but fortunately, I brought not just my speech, but a large print version, which I'm going to use. You know, the downside of kind of going almost last is everyone's already used the lines that you have written, so this speech may be incredibly short. But I'd certainly like to thank Governor Polis. I'm humbled to stand here among people who've done many great things and a woman who is going to do many great things. No one achieves massive change unaided. And so, like the Oscars, as they were talking about this being earlier, I have a few thank yous. We have Catherine Pease, our founding executive director of the Gill Foundation here. Courtney Cuff, who was an executive director that we stole from the environmental movement. Our current executive director, Brad Clark, who we knew him as a baby gay when he was at One Iowa working on LGBT rights. David Deckman, who is a board member and advisor forever and ever, plus a lot of staff members, board members. That's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. We coordinated donors, and I think the entire LGBT community of Colorado really has gotten behind making something very successful and very meaningful for not just themselves, but really for everyone in the nation. And of course, I would be completely remiss if I didn't mention my husband, Scott Miller, who has been on this journey with me for 17 of these years. He's been an invaluable advisor, and one of the great gifts he's given me is that you saw earlier that I'm a snowboarder. That's absolutely true. That's one of my very top passions. My actual top passion, besides perhaps ice cream, is programming computers. And so he has graciously taken over a lot of the different parts of my life to give me a chance to do a new startup called Josh.ai. And I cannot thank you enough for giving me the space to pursue my passion. So this year marks 25 years for the Gill Foundation, and it started when Amendment 2 was passed. And I remember, I'm going to tell you a little story, when you can't believe the emotional impact that it has when more than half of the people living in your state vote that you are not equal to them, that you are in some sense lesser. And my business partner, Fred Ebrahimi, is Persian. And so when the Shah was overthrown in Iran, he had to leave Iran. And he came to the United States where, unsurprisingly, people were not very happy with Iranians. So he kind of had, in some ways, nowhere to turn nowhere to go to avoid discrimination. And so what he told me in my darkest moment, and I will forever remember this when I think it in my head, it has a Persian accent, and it's, Tim, you must donate $1 million to convince everyone that discrimination is wrong. And 25 years later, we've blown past that by about a factor of 500. His wife, Patty, served on our first board of directors, and their whole family has just been incredibly supportive of us. So in the past 25 years, we've had lots of great successes. We got marriage equality, we overturned Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Of course, we also passed Don't Ask, Don't Tell in the last 25 years, but fortunately we took one step back and two steps forward. Recently we've taken a step back. I'm hoping in another year or so we take a step forward. But there is so much to do, and here in Colorado even, and it's not just about LGBT issues. All of us are more multidimensional than that. And so one of my other favorite projects is the complete and utter destruction of payday lenders. I hope none of them are in the audience. And to make sure that kids across the state have complete access in every single school district, in every single school, to STEM education. And of course, it's amazing to have our first openly gay governor. And there's so many other things to work on. The Supreme Court is listening to a case to determine whether LGBT people can be fired. And in 37 states? 30. Yeah, see, my husband knows more about this than I do. They can be. Fortunately, Colorado is not one. But I'm incredibly proud to call Colorado my home. My family is from the Eastern Plains. Scott's family is from Glenwood Springs and Grand Junction. And there is no more comfortable place, there is no better place to be from than Colorado. And it really has gone from in 1992 being called the hate state to in fact being one of the best states for LGBT people anywhere in this country. So we actually enjoy living in a purple state. It's a great place to test things and see what buttons you have to push in order to make what things happen. And it's been incredible because in our work, we've been supported not just by Governor Hickenlooper, but by Governor Bill Owens, and I think by every single governor that has been in office since we've been in existence. And that's not something you could say in most purple states. So I want to thank again Governor Polis for this. It has been amazing to have him to work besides, along with the first gentleman, Marlon Reese. And when I talk about Colorado and my passion for living here, it's all those things. And it's also snowboarding. And the snow that we just got 2 nights ago is just an incredible harbinger of what I hope will be an awesome year. And you're going to be responsible for that, right? So thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thank you, Tim. For our final medal this evening, as Governor Polis mentioned, only once previously awarded, the Colorado Mountain Leader Medal. At the discretion of the sitting governor, the Colorado Mountain Leader is awarded posthumously to a community leader who's provided incredible impact on the state while serving as a role model for the nation. Now, presenting the final medal of the evening with Governor Polis is a Colorado sports legend and arguably the greatest undrafted wide receiver of all time, Rod Smith. With nearly 850 receptions, more than 11,300 yards, and 68 touchdowns, Smith is the all-time receiving leader for the Denver Broncos, recognized just yesterday to the Broncos' top 100 list. Team, excuse me. Now, we probably all agree tonight's final recipient is one of the greatest legends in Colorado sports history as well, creating a culture, a mentality, an atmosphere of being the best. As so rightly quoted, our recipient would claim, "I want us to be number one in everything," yet believe strongly in operating behind the curtain and let the athletes and the coaches be the entertainment. He would change the face of the Broncos franchise and the entire National Football League from the day he took ownership. Under his ownership, the Denver Broncos football team thrived. No owner during the last 35 seasons had more winning seasons, 21, and playoff berths, 18, than this recipient, who presided over 7 Super Bowl appearances and 3 world championships. He was finally and officially inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year in August, a man who significantly impacted not only this city, but the communities around the state of Colorado, with more than $35 million donated to charitable organizations. While he may be known for his ownership of the team, he should be known for his community work as equally. He called it a Western mentality, proud to be Coloradans and proud to be in Denver. You gotta stick up for your city and your state and your team. Let's learn about our final medal recipient.
We're ready, baby, we're ready. A hell of a ball game today.
My dad's legacy begins with him purchasing the team in 1984.
He was really in it to win it. Winning brought him a great deal of satisfaction. And I could just see where this relationship was going to go in this business for him. He found his calling when he became an NFL owner.
My dad was so ambitious about life, about winning, about football. It really made us into a championship team.
Come on, Johnny! I think he gave this organization the platform to grow. He gave it the resources, he gave it the culture, he gave it the fight. But it was really truly the people within it, the players, the employees, the fans, that built it into what it is today.
Everybody gets a game ball.
I would describe my dad in one word as humble.
There's only 4 words. This one for Todd.
Being the most important for my dad was probably the first Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers.
That was incredible for him, to see how happy he was and how happy my mom was. That's something that I'll never forget.
You realize how much work it takes to get there, and it really is a team effort. Everybody played their best, hardest game, and it was just awesome.
Mr. Baker?
Hey.
Come in.
Hey, congratulations, guys. On behalf of all of us who love the game, okay, we are honored to tell you that your father is going to live in Canton, Ohio as an enshrinee there forever.
His legacy is what he's left here for the city and the fans. I think that the legacy is outstanding, and it comes from passion and a lot of work.
I am so proud of all my dad's accomplishments, including on the field and off the field.
3, 2, 1.
He made so many contributions to the league. He made commitments to his fans, his players, coaches, and staff. He gave so much back to the Denver community. My father's legacy is being number one.
Really, this team has been an extension of my father's family. And the investment he made in those relationships made people want to go out of their way in comfort zone, and whether it's coach that much harder or work that much harder or play that much harder for him, because the example that he was setting, he built authentic relationships with people, and that was the culture.
His legacy is so important to us, to live that every single day, to make sure that this organization continues to win Super Bowls, but also have a positive impact on our community and grow the game. That was what he wanted, and that is what he wants, and we'll continue to make sure that those values live on.
Accepting the award on behalf of Pat Bolin, please welcome Brittany Bolin and Amy Bolin-Clemmer to the stage for the Colorado Mountain Leader.
For those that don't know me, I'm Brittany Bolin, one of Pat's daughters. The Bolin family would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Governor Polis and the entire Civico leadership team for our father, husband, brother, and grandfather to receive the Governor's Citizenship Medal under the Colorado Mountain Leader category is an incredibly prestigious honor. Our family extends our sincere congratulations to the other community leaders recognized tonight. Most importantly, thank you for the outstanding contributions you are making to our community. Although she cannot be here tonight, we would also like to recognize our mother, Annabelle Bolin. Her heart and mind were as much a part of my father's community impact as anyone. Lastly, we would like to thank everyone in the room and our entire community for celebrating our father with such genuine love. This community and our fans meant everything to him. We feel so blessed to have celebrated his life with all of you. This is the first time I've spoken publicly since he passed. Recently, I've asked myself often, what were his values? I think of words like integrity, humility, community, commitment, loyalty, and of course, and most importantly, service to others. More than anything, our father was inspired by watching others succeed. It was one of the greatest qualities that defined his legacy leading the Broncos. He loved celebrating the accomplishments of others much more than focusing on himself. Whether it was a player on the field or a kid at the Boys and Girls Club, our father was driven to help others realize their dreams. Today, we all live very busy lives. Between family and work responsibilities, it's easy to lose sight about what inspires us, what our most important values are. But when I think of my father, I'm amazed by his balance and his commitment. We must all find time to invest in our communities, just like my father did. As Nobel Peace Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, "Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that will overwhelm the world." Thank you.
What an amazing night. Celebrating the most special humans in Colorado's history, there's nothing more noble, there's nothing more special, there's nothing more important, because I think, like the exhibit upstairs, it juxtaposes that every single Coloradan, whether known or unknown, has the ability to impact our future. Tonight is about celebrating all of you, all of them, and most importantly, all those who are in front of us who have yet to shine their face on this stage and receive that medal. Good evening. I'm Eric Matisek, and I'm the co-chairman of Civico. And Lindsey Vaughn, the great Lindsey Vaughn, also a Colorado homegrown, amazing Olympian here. She told me a couple weeks ago at Denver Startup Week, she said, all Olympians have got to have an amazing team. Those who wax their skis and carry their bags. And so I'm the counterpart to Ryan Heckman that does all that. And so the Olympian among us, I feel so honored to work with him and the entire team at Club Civico, and Katie and Eric and Jen and Caitlin. You're an amazing team, and we feel so blessed to be able to change the state with all your energy and heart. When I think about tonight, I think Mr. Gill said it best, there's no better place than Colorado. Colorado is truly that heartbeat of not only our communities, not only our state, but it's truly the heartbeat of our nation. And when we think about what we learned tonight, it's an incredible juxtaposition of the opportunity that's in front of us, but also the opportunity for us to set the example. Governor Owens and Governor Hickenlooper, there's not a day that goes by in Colorado history going forward that we're not thankful for your service, your heart, your commitment, and your ability to be courageous to lead us. It's hard to do the job that you've done, but it's something we'll always remember, and your impact is something we feel every day. So thank you so much for tonight, and thank you for being here. Governor Polis and First Gentleman Marlon Reese, I love saying that. It's, again, Colorado is a laboratory for innovation, and it's a laboratory for the way that the world should be. And I think, as Tim Gill said tonight, it's amazing to have one of the first gentlemen in the United States, and it's amazing to have a governor that is able to so quickly do the things that he says. Make progress against education, make progress against the environment, make progress against healthcare in short periods of time as you unite us all. Jared and Marlon, thank you so much for your commitment to step in the shoes of Governor Hickenlooper and Governor Owen to lead us into the next chapter and set those historic moments that we're all going to remember. Thank you. And off to my right, we also have Phil Weiser and his wife Heidi, who snuck in, our Attorney General. And Phil's also chose to lead courageously in Colorado. And Phil, thank you so much for being here tonight. Your heart for Civico, your heart for innovation, your heart for everything Colorado. Cheers to you and Heidi. So in closing, we learned a lot tonight. David Brown and David Cohen, you taught us that innovation can change the world. You taught us that entrepreneurs and commerce and the ability for those to have their ideas translated into action not only change our communities, they change our families, they change our states, and they put Colorado on the map. David and Cohen and David Brown, thank you so much for your leadership, your inspiration, and putting the Techstars vibe around the entire planet. We also learned from Kylie Cisnero-Gomez that living a life, sometimes grit, persistence, and having the ability to see through hardship gives us that golden light that there's a better way and a better world. You inspired us with your story tonight. You inspired us with the world that you live in. And you inspired us that there's Coloradans in all parts of the state that make us who we are. Thank you so much. And Aspen Skiing Company, I love my lift ticket. I always brag that in Grand Junction, Colorado, where I'm from, Mr. Miller, that when I was in high school, I had a $55 season pass if I had a 3.5 GPA or above. So all of us in school in Fruita had really, really great grades. So I love the lift tickets, wherever you are. I love the lift tickets. But most importantly, living a life of purpose, tackling the hugest issues of our environment, making sure that we can ski not just today, but forever, and also do it in ways that we never thought possible. It was inspirational, and it's setting not only the example for Aspen, it's setting the example for the planet, and congratulations, it's an amazing award. Tim, I had the chance to learn about you when I was an undergrad at DU. And when I think about your heart for Colorado, your heart for innovation, and most importantly, your heart for equality, true equality, making sure all humans can stand shoulder to shoulder to have the same privileges, the same rights, the same love that we all deserve. The last 30 years of your service and the $500 million you put to work has not only put our planet in rotation, it's made a difference that we can all feel. Thank you. And last, Pat Bowlen, as a Coloradan, there's nothing better in the city than to win. And that winning legacy that you created to lift our spirits in every single town, not just in Colorado, but I've learned that the Broncos brand is the largest brand that not just spans our state, but all the way down to New Mexico and all the way up to Montana and probably to Kansas City and all the way through Utah. The Bowlen family has changed our state's history, and most importantly, service to others, I think, defines everything we do at Civico, defines everything the governor does in his administration, and it's just an amazing honor to be able to celebrate with you a life that will forever be remembered in this state and forever will define football in the NFL. So my grandmother always said, there's only a handful of moments that we remember. And those moments are those that you can count in your hand. And so for the medal winners tonight, as that medal went over your head, hit your neck, landed on your shoulders, and you felt that weight thunk down, enjoy that moment of achievement because you've worked hard to receive it. But I would also tell everyone in the entire room that that same thunk is that thunk that you can have because we're all in Colorado. This is truly the laboratory of innovation. It's the laboratory of progress. It's truly the greatest state in the nation that these things like this can happen because we all care to recognize those among us, those we don't know yet, but we know that we're helping build up to be the greatest Coloradans to come. As my friend John Hickenlooper has always said, Colorado will always be remembered more for its future than for its past. I always hold that close because I always think that there's so many Coloradans that have yet to rise up and put us on the map. And so when I think about tonight, the heart of Civico is truly about the good life, a better Colorado, and most importantly, a best you. I would like to end tonight's program in a standing ovation for all the award recipients, for their heart for Colorado, their heart for raising us out of this plain cowtown state onto the national and global stage of all things that we are in our heart, which is Coloradans, and most importantly, to inspire all of us who have yet to receive this medal, because all of us are Coloradans, and by definition, we have the ability to inspire, we have the ability to encourage, we have the ability to lead, and most importantly, we have the ability to give. And that heart of service that Colorado truly defines us and brings us together is what Civico is about. A good life, a better Colorado, a best you. Let's end in a standing ovation to all of our award winners tonight, and thank you so much for coming. The party doesn't end. Whoa. The party doesn't end. Civico After Dark is upstairs. The exhibit, please visit the 4th floor. It's truly an inspiration, as Ryan said, to really not only show the Coloradans of today, but the Coloradans of tomorrow who define us all. And thank you so much for making this such a special night. Hoffenbeck, amazing work. Heckman, wherever you are the Olympian that we always cherish. Good night, good night. Thank you so much.
I was Cleopatra, I was young and an actress when you knelt by my mattress and